Houston.
Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. And of course, good morning to the world listening to us via the magic of the internet, formerly known as the ARPANET, created by your tax dollars. We the people, your intellect, we the people, but now controlled by a whole bunch of billionaires and folks that are owned by billionaires. Anyway, folks, happy MLK Day. Today is Martin Luther King's birthday. I am not going to go into a whole lot of specific Martin Luther King programming today, but it's going to be covered throughout. We have some other issues as well that we need to cover. But again, remember one thing. Martin Luther King is beloved now. But did you know that at his death, he wasn't? But history caught up with the benevolent. Anyway, before we go any further, we have two geniuses in the studio that we must go to because we can't wait to hear from them. Hey, guys.
Where are all the geniuses?
I don't know. So they're outside standing there freezing is what they're doing.
No, they're still being warm.
Those are the really smart guys. Monday, January the 20th, 2025 it is. And it's MLK Day and also the beginning of the winter of our discontent.
You notice I didn't mention that?
No, I noticed that because
that was by design.
Yeah, he rolled over when you said that. Good morning, Egberto. We're going to have a nasty freeze coming our way this evening, and for the next couple of days, we will be automated here. So pick out a couple of shows you want to play and send them to me, and we'll get them on.
Will do.
Nobody's going to be able to get in because it's going to be frozen, and I don't like this at all. You know, I'll put up with 100-degree temperatures. Oh, I'll complain about them, yeah. But they don't freeze pipes and they don't break stuff. They don't kill plants. 100-degree temperatures, I'll take it any day as opposed to this.
I would too, but you know, I'm from Central America, so I can handle that, man.
I see a blank page over there, Jack.
Well, I thought today would be appropriate for Oligarch's Pledge, you know.
The Oligarch's Pledge.
I can't wait.
Since we're going to be ruled by billionaires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see how well that works out.
Yeah, didn't work out for a lot of people.
And not Germany either.
All right. Oligarch's Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the corporations of the United Empire of America and to the economy for which it enslaves all peoples, demonizes and devalues them, passes the profit to the elite 1% with punishment and tyranny for the poor. Slackers.
Man, man.
That is it.
Now, yeah, there had to be a moment of silence after that one, I'll tell you.
Well,
I think that's where we're going. I hope not, but I think that's where we're going.
Into the old toilet. All right.
Look, that is an interesting way of calling it, my brother. But hey, folks, let me just say this, okay? Just for those who are feeling a bit of despair right now, I'm going to tell you, we are in this game permanently. The fight goes on for all our freedoms, for all of what's right. We don't cede it to anybody. Trump may believe he is in control and that the populace will just have to abide by what he and his oligarchs have to say. Well, we have some news for the brother. No, sir. No, sir. We the people will continue. Whether you find a way to control the airwaves or other ways, we are preparing method after method to ensure that our democracy remains. You know what? The founding fathers had a great thing about believing in we the people. So it wasn't always executed, or likely I should say it was never executed. But as several from Martin Luther King to Obama has always, and many other greats have always spoken about, the arc of freedom bends toward, you know what? Freedom. I said it wrong, of course, but you know what I mean. When you pencil something that is good, even if you're not living up to it, at least we have penciled or maybe penned towards something that is good. And that is how all of us see America. Something penciled to be good, but we are the ones who have to, or penned to be good, but we are the ones who have to effect it. We are the ones who have to make it happen. It doesn't happen on its own. We have to do it. When my daughter at Christmas wanted to know why immigrants have the faith in America that they have in America when they come here. And I repeated this to Norman at Christmas dinner, you know, um, because we believe that the one thing this country gives us is the ability, one, to be a part of this country. After all, we know how this country came about, but number two, that we can come here and do it. Not just think about doing it, but do it. Those that came before. I'm not talking about the pilgrims, I'm talking before the pilgrims. They had this vast land of resources you know, that came, others came and did their thing, etc. But it still left the door open for all. To my immigrant brothers and sisters who are scared right now, don't be. We have the vast majority of non-immigrants, and I'm talking about the folks that's been here since the 1400s, that are good people and that will be standing as allies. Remember that. Don't let the news media fool you. Don't make everybody let you believe that so many folks are just out there being bad. Most of even the bad folks that you think are bad are just victims of their rearing, and a lot of them, when exposed to the truth and reality, they change what they believe. Anyhow, I want to talk a little bit about TikTok. Look, I am not a super influencer on TikTok. Like I see these folks who are, there's some darn good people on TikTok, Instagram, and all. I mean, these young folks, the younger ones, they are great in the way they can produce on TikTok. I do a whole lot on TikTok as well, but I don't have that creativity that a lot of these folks have. I'm just a straight out activist that go out there and throw stuff up, and luckily some of it take off, some of it doesn't take off, but you have some people out there doing some good stuff. Then again, you have the philosophers and the teachers and all these great people that finally found themselves a platform whose algorithm actually worked, right? It actually worked. I have been able, by the way, I don't look at any social media platform to get my information as fact. I use the social media platforms as tools. I am, TikTok may come up that tickles me. I go and validate whether before I talk to you guys about it, I go ahead and validate it with other independent sources to verify that the information is correct, information is accurate. And if I find it to be that way, I start to promote that type of messaging, etc. And in doing that, I get a lot of reliable historians, a lot of reliable scientists, engineers, all these folks. I've built the algorithm has given me a reliable baseline. How do I know that? Because I still fact check it, even if it sounds real, and I don't take it at face value. I fact check it. But anyhow, but TikTok has a whole lot of crap on it as well, right? People come out there and they lie to you, they create stories, and and I fact check those too. But that is not something that is restricted to TikTok. It's the same thing that applies to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, chat. All these other applications. There's no difference. And by the way, is it true that maybe negative information about China doesn't show up on TikTok, given that TikTok is a ByteDance company that's a Chinese owned company? Actually, I believe that. I believe that they are actually hiding or not really promoting messages that are negative to the China. Yes, they're doing that. And you know, is that something that is fatal or a bad thing? It's a thing that countries do. It's a thing that countries do. By the way, I've said negative things about China on messages, and the reality is, I guess maybe I'm a low performer influencer on TikTok, but it still gets the same amount of visuals that I get when I talk about the United States or that I talk about Panama or Costa Rica or whatever. I have seen no difference in my content whether I talk about China or anything else. But I do believe for large influencers, if they said something negative about China, there may be some filters in there that attenuates how far that goes. Is that a bad thing? It's a thing. It's a thing that countries do. You know who does it very well? We do. We do the same thing to protect the ideals of what we think America is, right? Um, Whenever you think about, I'll give you some great examples. Whenever you talk about human rights and how we are so protective of human rights around the country, we don't our news media doesn't show that we are one of the countries that most affect human rights. We're the country that incarcerates more people than any other country in the world. Human rights? We're the country that enslaved a whole lot of people. Human rights? We're a country that truly, and this is not even up for debate, truly had a genocide. We are the country that threw the people who were here originally into reservations and took their land. We are the country who goes overseas into Africa and other countries, and now the African leaders are really raising hell about it. They're attacking France. They're not attacking Fidji, but they're taking back their birthrights from these colonists that came in and took their raw materials and then sell it back to them as finished products. We do that, but we don't publicize it in that context. We our history books put a facade onto the bad things that we do. By me saying this about America, my now country, that I'm proud to be an American, doesn't make me a doesn't make me a traitor. It just makes me an honest person saying these are the things that we've done. Other countries, no country is free of doing. I mean, it's clear of doing bad things to many of its people. That's just reality. I can talk about the bad things that Colombia, the Gran Colombia, Panama, and all these other people have done to different people. They're indigenous, they're the slaves that they brought from Africa. I can talk about African countries that have done bad things to other I mean, it is just a reality. But to single out China and TikTok for propagandizing Americans, I can tell you that the biggest propaganda that has occurred in America is Trump. That Trump became president, that we got plausibility of a person who a judge said is a rapist, of a person who who stole money from the citizenry by having them believe they're going to a university that wasn't really a university and had to pay $25 million in restitution. For a person who actively grabs women by their private parts, who says he does it, who throws kisses onto women by force, who was convicted, for a person like that to have plausibility to be the president again of a country after knowing all those realities. How do you think that happened? You propagandize a certain sect within your population that made that a possibility. That was a much more dangerous propaganda by all our media resources than anything TikTok could have done. In an article on Common Dreams, there's a high. It's a long article. It's at I've linked it to it from the politicsdoneright.com newsletter. But there's a phrase that that they used in the article that said the following: America, where it is okay to ban TikTok, books, and abortions, but not okay to ban assault weapons, bombs for genocide, or student debt. Think about that statement again. It is okay to ban TikTok, books, and abortions, but not okay to ban assault weapons, bombs for genocide, and student debt. Think about that. Just hours ahead of the ceasefire taking effect in Gaza, Turner, who co-chaired Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign, also emphasized that they really banned TikTok before they banned sending weapons to Israel. If Congress actually gave a damn about our data privacy, she added, they would have passed a sweeping data privacy bill, not a bill targeting TikTok. In a Sunday email to supporters, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who also voted against the law, agreed, stressing that the answer is not just plain endless whack-a-mole with apps. We should have a real privacy legislation in the United States, she said. We should help people have greater agency over their personal information so that they're not being spied on all the time, whether it is a domestic company or a foreign company, to which, of course, big tech and their lobbies are going to fight against. So they just target an app instead of targeting the problem. Do you know that as soon as they passed the TikTok ban, many of those Congress people ran to buy, guess what? Facebook stocks. They went and they bought Facebook stocks. I mean, it's all a fraud. It's all a fraud. TikTok is no more a danger than Instagram, than Facebook, or any other app that collects data. In fact, let me go further with China. China can get, if not already has, in fact, I'm pretty sure they have, our data, and there are much better ways to get our data than open themselves up to TikTok acquiring your data. You know what's a better way to do it? They can simply go to Facebook. They can simply go to YouTube that collects the same data that TikTok collects and buy it. So what in effect this law does is say, well, you know, capitalists, we can't allow TikTok to collect the data, but if China wants to pay millions of dollars to Facebook, or millions of dollars to YouTube, or any one of these guys, hey, you can have the people's data. You can have our data, because after all, as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, there is no privacy laws to protect Facebook and all these guys from selling your data to China. And China not going to go to Facebook and say, "Hey, sell me your data." They're going to use a whole bunch of companies all around the United States and go buy the data and then just ship it off. We are so hoodwinked as a country. They think we are so stupid that they do these things to us. So now, and I'm going to go to the callers right after this, but I want to get you to realize this now. TikTok just joined the fold. Yesterday, I think they shut down TikTok. I think actually it was Saturday night. They shut down TikTok and they put, "We're shutting it down, but Donald Trump is working to help us bring it back up." And then yesterday, they brought it back up and said, because of what Donald Trump has done, TikTok is back up. So you have all these Gen Zers that, again, get all their information from all these different media forms, etc., that going to realize, wow, when Biden was president, they took TikTok away, and when Donald Trump came, we got TikTok back. But here's the kicker. Donald Trump is the one who started the avalanche of writing a law to ban TikTok. He's the one who started it. You see, a lot of folks wrote later on, Democrats got played. Democrats didn't get played. Democrats got played. The Democratic leadership didn't get played. They know exactly what they're doing. It's all the establishment. And when we realize that there's no real, in that place they call the centrist or the middle, when we realize there's no Democrat and Republican, it's just about how to best take power and maximize the profits of a few, then we're going to learn something. Then we will be able to make the change. And you know what we are here for, brothers and sisters? Just the truth. And that's what you're going to get here. Just the truth. Before we go to the phones, I just want to make a comment where, as you heard Howard say, we're going to be automated for the next 2 days. But guess what? I have so much good content, new content for you. I want you to make sure to still tune in to KPFT 90.1 FM. And I also want you to make sure to please go to kpft.org and start. We're having our fund drive coming up next month. It's not now. I'm just going ahead. I'm trying to build up what we're getting for our program here, Politics Done Right. So go ahead and start going to kpft.org, hit that donate button, and give whatever you can to support this show, to make sure you can get this kind of info consistently, that they don't throw me off because I'm not pulling my own. You remember that guy that said, "Oh, they're going to fire me"? Oh, it's not about being fired. It's about if you guys still want this show, you got this show. If you don't want this show, you don't contribute to this show, and it goes away. So there's one half of what the brother said who called and said getting fired is going to be. If this show is what you guys want, this show is what you guys get. So please go to kpft.org and contribute, or call 713-526-5738, hit extension 1, and be sure to make it known that it is for Politics Done Right. That is how we tally the shows to ensure we know what shows people want to hear. All right. Now, on tomorrow and the day after, great folks. You're going to have folks like Reverend Barber. I interviewed Reverend Barber on Saturday. I have a great interview with Dr. Reverend Barber about a whole lot of issues with the campaign and much more. We also have an interview with a person who's talking about the cuts in Medicare, in Medicaid, and all the programs that Donald Trump has started to work on in this new budget, and what it would mean to rural America. In other words, the people who voted for Donald Trump, he's about to screw them. And we are going to talk about that. And I have several other good interviews. So tune in and keep supporting the show. Let's go to Harry, line 1. Come on in, Harry.
Good morning, Brother Roberto. Good morning, Howard. Good morning, Jack. Um, I'll start with, with TikTok, what you were talking about there. Yeah, that the oligarchs there want when Donald Trump wrote that to ban TikTok. They what people have to also remember, they want the oligarchs want to buy TikTok from China because it's their greed and they can make profit from it. That's why because they don't like the Chinese company controlling it, and so that's why they did that. That's why they started that. We're going to ban and all this stuff about like you were talking about with the lies with the spying that they want to do because they want to control that here in the U.S. They want a U.S. company, an oligarch, to buy that TikTok. Now I'll go on to some of these other things. Uh, let's see. As far as MLK is concerned, everything that Donald Trump uh, stands for, he was against. He's against everything that MLK fought for, educating the public, um, the poor, helping aggregate in the poor, and the civil rights. So everybody had DEI, so everybody has a level playing field. I did listen to your some of those interviews when you were on vacation, and I enjoyed that one with Dr. William Barber, and I'm going to listen here when you guys are not on live the next few days, and I want you guys to stay warm. Now I'm going to mention something that you when Bard was talking to you on Friday when you were talking about the minimum wage, and he was talking about that Houston Garden $12.50 an hour, and it makes no sense. It has to be a minimum wage, but a lot of these people get on general assistance like SNAP. I have SNAP. I've told you that they do these things because they don't make enough money, and the government is going to be your friend. Now Trump wants to cut all that. He wants to cut uh, your Texas benefits, SNAP. He wants to get rid of Medicare and Medicaid, all those things that help people who need the help when they cannot pay for everything out of pocket. And I guess Bard, living in a bubble, just doesn't understand that. Now, I will mention
Harry,
one other thing.
real quick,
Uh,
Harry.
Frederick Forrester. Yeah, Frederick Forrester. That's who Johnny was telling you about. He played that fastest Nick in the movie Falling Down. So when he talks to you, he'll elaborate more on that. But
Thank you very much.
he
Hey,
got,
Harry, I want to say one thing. Harry,
go
gotta
ahead.
go. I gotta go, but I want to admonish. I don't admonish is a wrong word, but I just want to tell you. You remember for my brothers and sisters who said they wanted to make a point and they voted third party, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
agree.
say, I know, and again, I just want
I,
to because of what has happened, I want to illustrate something to all of you, to all our voters, you and everybody, whether you voted Democrat, Republican, Independent. But because of though, because a lot of folks chose to, let's say, vote in the, that third party or whatever, and now because Donald Trump can claim he has the popular vote, we would have whether most of, if all the folks in Texas had voted otherwise, Donald Trump would still be president, but he would be president with again less than the popular vote, meaning less than the popular vote. But as it turns out, even as he got less than 50%, he did win the popular vote, meaning he was the person that won the most vote. So whenever
right.
the claim that they're making now to pass all these laws is that he won both the popular vote as well as the electoral college, so he has a mandate. We could have
Yeah.
sent him to that White House without that narrative. Again, I just want to tell folks about consequences. So I
Yeah.
respectfully, I want to let you understand that. But thank you, and we'll talk a little bit later, my brother. Okay?
Okay, those 49% were suckers that are not
Right.
millionaires. I
Have
voted
a
for
good day,
Donald Trump.
brother. Let's go to brother Tag. Come on in, Tag.
Good morning, Alberto. Have you seen the picture of the rainbow fire hydrant?
No, sir. Tell me about it.
Well, the right wing's passing a picture around of a rainbow fire hydrant, and said that even though the fire hydrants in LA didn't have any water in them, they're all painted up pretty with, the gay colors, and making a big deal about the LA had their budget cut, and that their efforts are directed in the wrong direction, and a very, very good disinformation campaign for the right wing again. I did a little research, and the picture of the rainbow fire hydrants with LA burning in the background is an actual AI generated photo.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. Even if it was AI generated, I mean, even if it were real tech, I really don't see the point in that. We can go into Montrose right now and see gay flags and as a crosswalk and all of that. I think it is great. I mean, DC has a street marked Black Lives Matter. I think it is great. All these things are, I mean, the things that these guys look at to create a problem for people who are just trying to be seen. It's amazing. Continue, please, brother.
Well, the crux of the issue here is, was LA ready with the firefighting? And everybody says it was because Karen Bass was in Africa, is because she's gay, because they cut the budget in LA, and none of them want to admit the fact that there were over 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts that spread the fire, and they want to say that the budget was cut in LA for the fire department. Well, guess what? That's what the right wing wants to do, is cut budgets for all government.
There you go.
And so I don't know how they can come out and say, well, they messed up because they cut the budget, and that's why they had the big fires. And it's indicative of where our country is going with the disinformation.
The whole thing is to keep people jumping. These guys' messages are never consistent. They are, I mean, their messages contradict each other, etc. The idea is just to keep people off keel, and if you keep people off keel, then you can get your way with them. And that's, when you bring these stories, you solve that problem. Hey, I got to go to Neil. Is there anything else that you have real quickly, my brother?
Just want to wish everybody well in 2025. Have a good one, Egberto.
Thank you, brother. You have a wonderful day. All right, let's go to Neil. I hope this is Neil Aquino with that subject about the school board.
Good morning, Egberto. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me on a Monday. With the Houston Democracy Project, we keep a local focus, and there's someone very specifically I want to talk about, Sarah Terrell, Terrell, Sarah Terrell. And Sarah was arrested at the most recent HISD so-called Board of Managers meeting this past Thursday. Sarah is a regular attendee, has a great record of advocacy. Long before the so-called Board of Managers was appointed, Sarah talking about budget issues, talking about transparency, talking about proper treatment of teachers and students. Sarah Terrell is a tremendous advocate. And she was the board president. Sarah called out at the board meeting on Thursday. Board president told her to, not call out. They went around 2 or 3 times. And Sarah ended up being dragged out, and no hyperbole, dragged out. The picture of her is her dragged out of the school board meeting, and she faces trespassing charges. Now, it's ironic, right? It's a public building, and these people replaced the elected board. Governor Abbott replaced the elected board, and she's charged with trespassing. And so my ask here for all our listeners is to email Sean Tier, the district attorney. You can to ask that the charges be dropped. And there's an email, community engagement at community engagement at DAO.hctx.net. Community engagement at DAO.HTCX.net. And you can go to the website of the Harris County District Attorney and find that address under community engagement. Sean Tier, who we're glad that he's elected. This is not a criticism of Sean Tier, but if you recall, community engagement and activism helped get him elected. There was the censure of him by Democratic County Precinct Chair, censure of Kim Ogg, the censure of Kim Ogg by Democratic County Precinct Chairs in December of 2023. That was a big step along the way to defeating Kim Ogg. So he won with the help of community activism. Sarah's supposed to be in court on Saturday, and I'm going to give that address one more time, and I appreciate you letting me have 2 minutes here. Community engagement at DAO.HCTX.net, but it's also on the website of the District Attorney, Sean Tier.
You know, Sarah Terrell has been on our program several times. In
That's
fact,
right.
she came on to discuss the bond issue that they had, that where they wanted to rip off Houstonians of several billion
Right.
dollars, and she made sure to come on here, and they summarily defeated that bond proposal. So we have we have some great activists that we bring on to this program all of the times. Yes, folks, listen to what Neil Aquino has to say, and please contact the district attorney with your opinion on why would we get an activist who's working for the people, for your students, for your children, to ensure that I don't want to call them thugs quite yet, but those who are controlling the Houston Independent School District, not from
Right.
what you want, but from what Governor Abbott wants. So please go ahead and do that. Thank you very much, Neil. Anything else you need to say real quickly?
No, thank you for the time. And you know that the board was just found to have spent $870 million without proper authorization. Mike Miles, it's incredible that you can spend $870 million incorrect. I'm going to give the web address one more time, and then I'm going to make a contribution to the show. So it's pledged. This is a great show. Local activism is celebrated here, and I appreciate it. The web address is community engagement at DAO.HCTX.net. You can go to the website of the District Attorney, Sean Tier, and there's a blog post about the matter at HoustonDemocracyProject.com. There's a blog. Very appreciative of the time. Sarah's in court Friday, and as we enter this new Trump era, if we don't stick up for people who are willing to be brave, who's going to stick up for us? So I appreciate the time.
Wow.
Please contribute to Egberto's. There's a lot on the line. Authoritarianism will require a local infrastructure. These migrants are not going to deport themselves. We're in for a rough road, so we've got to look out for each other. Egberto does a great job. The studio team, when Egberto tells you that the show is about the listener, that's exactly what he tells me before we're on the air. When I come on each Thursday with the Democracy Project segment, he does tremendous preparation, takes great care, and the money goes to KPFT, and I urge everyone to contribute, as I'm going to do as soon as I'm off this call.
Thank you so kindly, Neil. You have a wonderful rest of your day, my brother.
Thanks for letting me on. Thank you all.
Yes, sir. And if Sarah is out there, Sarah, we've got your back. Sarah Terrell, we've got your back. Anyway, folks, let's go to Bruce. Come on in, Bruce.
Good morning. This will be very fast. I got three things. First, thank you for educating me about TikTok. I was ignorant. It's not a shame to be ignorant, but it's a sin for a man to recognize his ignorance and not do something about it. Second, it's not an inauguration, it's a coronation. I'm not going to watch it. And third, I'm surprised Donald Trump didn't propose that California just hire some Russian women to pee on the fire. Thank you.
Oh my God, Bruce, thank you for that one. I think I'm going to cut this one out and actually write a blog on this one. That was short and sweet, sir. Let's go to another Neil. Hey, brother Neil, on line number one. Come on in.
Yeah, hi. I'm just calling. This is a great day in America. We got a new president coming in, President Trump, and I think he'll do a great job.
Okay, let me ask you, what do you expect out of him, sir?
Well, he's going to secure the borders. He's going to, you know, he's going to do the things that wasn't done in the last administration, you know.
And what wasn't done in the last administration, sir?
Well, I mean, you see the stories. I mean,
No, I want to know specifically for you, right? You called into this show and you said today's a happy day for you. Brother Trump has been elected president. I'd like you to tell me what you think Brother Biden did wrong and what you think Trump is going to do to help make your life and the life of your children better.
Well, you know, when you go back to the last election and COVID hit, and then I thought he was on the right track. I mean, I think everything, you know, we had inflation that come and gas prices went up. And
okay, stop right there. Why did gas prices go up, sir? Sir, why did gas prices go up?
Well, it was under Biden's watch.
No, gas prices went up because no. Wait, hold on. Wait. I want to answer the question. I asked you a question. You said it's because of Biden. I just wanted to correct the record and let you know that they took oil off of the market by the petroleum companies that are supporting Trump took oil off the market so that you would have to pay more for gas. I just want you to know the truth because, again, when you call in to hear that's what you get. You also talked about COVID. I want you to know that COVID was held up before the oligarchs decided how they were going to divide up the monies that's going to be made from vaccines, etc. You can read about that at my blogs as well. I just want you to understand that it's not just okay to say, okay, Trump is in power. Understand what it means for you. When it comes to the immigration things on the border, I'm going to be with you partially that Biden could have done a better job by making it front and center as opposed to kind of waiting ahead of time. So I'm not going to, but Trump is, there are less people coming across the border now than when Trump left office. I hope you do understand that. My thing here, my brother, is the following. There is the rhetoric and then there's the reality. The person who recovered the economy after Trump took it into the ground was in fact Biden. And the numbers are there to show you. Secondly, other numbers are there to prove to you that when Democratic presidents are in office, two things happen. They clean up the mess that Republicans leave them. And secondly, the economy grows much faster under the Democratic government. All of that data is out there. Unfortunately, Democrats are lousy in marketing what they have, while Trump is an excellent marketer. Just want you to know. Continue.
So you don't believe that Trump can do the good job?
Oh no, not at all, not at all. He's a terrible president. I mean, he doesn't have the intellect to do the job, nor does he has moral character to do the job, and that can be itemized.
He don't say all the right things, but I mean, I think the people that spoken, they voted for him.
Oh no, I agree. I agree. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The people have voted for Donald Trump.
People are suffering out there.
No, you're right about that too, sir. You're right about people suffering, and the oligarchs, both the Democrats and Republican oligarchs, the establishment are guilty. Unfortunately, when people are suffering, many times we make very bad decisions, right? So, I mean, let me tell you a little secret. We put up some polling that asked two questions. We took the names off of the policies, and we put all of Kamala Harris's policies up, and we put all of Donald Trump's policies up, and not by a little bit, by a landslide. the Americans chose Kamala Harris's policies. But when we attached a name to it, it became a 50-50 proposition. I want you to think about what that actually means. But I got to go to another caller. But I honestly thank you for your call. And I hope you call in and talk a bit more, so we can have these exchanges because I think this is important. Because one of the things that I notice is, go ahead, go ahead.
I want to shout out to a friend of mine out there, Harry. Shout out to him.
Great. Absolutely. Harry, you got a shout out. Wait, let me ask you something. Are you the friend that Harry always told me about that would have called in? That said sometime he's going to call in?
Yeah, he been giving me the call to show.
I appreciate you, man.
Call the show, and
I
do it
appreciate.
on Inauguration Day. So.
All right, look, I appreciate you
Yeah.
doing that. So let me ask you to do this though. I want you to do me a favor because you are Harry's friend. I want you to keep listening to the program, and I want you to also call into the program when you have questions of things that I have to say. Do we have a deal?
I can't promise that, but we'll see. I'm
All
not
right.
going to give any promises. I told him I'd do it the one time. He's been bugging me to do it, and I take the
Okay.
inauguration day.
All right, that's fine. I'll take what I can get, brother. But if you can continue listening, I'll be honored. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
All right, let's go to Patrick. Come on in, Patrick.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Brother Patrick, talk to me.
Hey, I wanted to point out everybody is talking badly about Gavin Newsom. I'm not much of a fan. I can tell you why in another call. But what I would like to point out is in 2011, Governor Rick Perry cut the funding to firefighters in Texas, and Bastrop burned to the ground.
Oh, wow. That is such, something, we can always count on you to give us some good historical facts. I remember that. I used to ride my bike in Boost Park, when we do the MS 150, and that was completely decimated. You're completely right about that, with a lot of homes being lost. Continue, brother.
I hear the statement that Bart made from a lot of people saying that jobs like McDonald's are for people between the age of 16 and 19. According to the Census Bureau in the United States, there are 19 million people from the age of 15 to 19. Most of them don't work, and the ones that do work part-time. So there are more minimum wage jobs available than there are of people to work them if our expectation is for teenagers to work for minimum wage. So I wanted to point that out to Bart.
But even that being the case, right? I don't even consider that a valid point, Patrick. Because
they need to be saving up for education.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, because it's a job done for. If you have a certain service job, you should get paid. Because I could actually make the case that a stockbroker doesn't need a whole lot of intellect to move around those pieces of paper, yet they make millions, millions on other people's money, right? I mean, we just have an economic system that does not equitable, not the word, that does not fairly address the worth of anybody's particular employment. Like, I look at somebody who's building a road on the side of a mountain that I revere that person. That person that is a job. There are so many jobs that are so important to society that we consider menial, and you don't realize it until you say, who are the people, the essential workers? Well, if a worker is essential based on what supposedly the capitalist systems say, if a worker is essential, doesn't that mean that person should be paid more? Patrick?
I agree with you, and we did the exact opposite to the nurses during the COVID.
Thank you. Exactly.
They were heroes, and they were voluntarily working much longer hours than they were required, and they stepped up when this country needed it, and we turned our back on them.
Exactly. And I think as we learn and see more of these things, then suddenly we may start to realize certain things. But look, thank you so kindly, Patrick. Anything else you want to add before we jump on to Brian?
If you can avoid Facebook for a month to get back at your Congress, watch that stock tank, and we'll get our revenge.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, Patrick. Have a good one. See you at 3.
Yes, sir.
Peace. All right, let's go to Brother Brian. Come on in, Brian.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing?
We're doing fine. Talk to me, my dear brother.
Okay, inflation increased 0.4% in December after a 0.3 increase the month before. This information came out just 5 days before Trump gets inaugurated. Now, who had a higher average unemployment rate, Obama or Bush? Who had a higher unemployment rate after 8 years?
I don't have the numbers exactly right now. I mean, if I were prepared, I would be able to answer that. But I imagine you think you have the answer, right?
Oh, I do have the answer. I don't think. I have
Okay,
the
what?
answer.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Your reputation doesn't speak well about that. But go ahead, Brian. What's your answer? I'll
Yeah,
fact check it, of course.
you just don't agree with it. You just don't agree with it. It was Bush, even after the Enron debacle, even
All
after
right.
the housing crash.
But
even
you know what?
after
So, but here's the funny.
2001.
It doesn't matter because again, and if you were to get my book called as I'm not asking you to buy my book. I'm just saying, as I stated in my book, and I'm looking it up. Bill Clinton got 23 million new high again. 23 million jobs created under Bill Clinton. You know how many jobs created under that Bush that you're just talking about? 2.5 million. Do you know how much was created under Jimmy Carter? 10.5 million whatever, in one election, while George Bush in two only got 2.5 million. I'm not done speaking, sir. All right. Harry Truman, 8.4 million. So let me give you the worst job creators. George Herbert Walker Bush, 2.5 million. I am not done, sir. George Herbert Walker Bush, 2.5 million. Gerald Ford, 1.8 million. And Dwight Eisenhower, 3.5 million. If you want to know who created the most jobs in this country, look it up.
About job creation.
I don't care what you're talking about. I'm talking about what Americans care about are how many people are going to work. All right. And what you get with percentages that you're talking about there is that since Bush was just a status quo president, of course, I mean, it doesn't have anything. When Obama came into power from Bush, remember Bush gave him a cratered economy where the employment went. Did a dip just like under Mr. Trump, where he gave a hell of a dip in employment.
President Trump.
Mr. Trump. Mr.
Not
Trump.
Mr. Trump.
He's not. No, sir. He's not president. Hold on. He's not president until noon today. It's Mr. Trump.
At the time,
sir,
he was the president at the time.
Mr. Trump did a horrendous job as president. Anything else you want to add, sir?
No, he did not. What was the unemployment rate 2 years after President Trump took office versus Obama?
Again, Donald Trump did a terrible job, and the numbers are there.
He did
Look
not.
it up. Have a wonderful day, man. Sir, goodbye. All right.
Hey, Egberto.
Yes, sir.
I was just looking at a chart here. Bush versus Obama, Obama versus Bush. The unemployment rate when Bush leaves office was 7.8, and the unemployment record for Obama after he left office was 4.7.
Thank you, sir. Brian does that all the time.
Oh, I know. I know. And then he changes the question. Oh, well, what about Obama versus Trump? Well, which question do you want us to answer, Brian? 1 or 2? So there you go.
But let me go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, Howard. Let me just say this. Mhm.
Okay.
No,
I was going to
I
say that
no, I want
that's
you to
my input
finish.
for today.
No,
That's
I
my
was.
input for today.
Oh, okay. We kind of had a delay, and I stepped on you, and I didn't want to step on you. So anyhow,
Ouch,
hey.
ouch, ouch, ouch. That's my toes.
Oh,
2 minutes,
sorry, man.
man.
All right,
You
let
got
me.
two
Hey,
minutes and take it on home.
all right. Let's see. What does Brother Jack want to say before I take it home?
Well, Jack has, he didn't have any wisdom for us this morning, so
I am hurt.
I
I
know.
thought Oligarch's Pledge was appropriate.
I
Well,
think it
it
was
is.
great, but we want to hear more of you, Jack. We love you, Jack.
Well, I wrote Oligarch's Pledge.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. I'll
I-
give you that. But
Thank you,
look,
Joe, for the domestic things you did. I'm not pleased with you foreign policy, but all in all, good president.
absolutely. So I want to give a shout out to Alistair Waters from Montgomery County, I believe, Conroe. I want to also give a shout out to Gabriela McLawrence Manning. She says the first mistake is trying to talk sense to an angry Republican American. I also want to give a call out to Winter Riemann, welcome to Politics Done Right. I want to thank you guys kindly. Now, before I go, I want to remind you tomorrow I interviewed Reverend Barber on Saturday. I have a great interview. I'm going to play that one tomorrow. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow as well, even though as you know it's going to be frozen. Get a cup of coffee, get up at 6 and listen to it, or go to the archive and listen to it. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you all for listening. I love you all, love all my callers. I want to thank Harry for bringing a new person into the fold. Harry, tell him I want him to call us over and over again. Look, guys, the rest of the program is at politicsandright.com/newsletter. Politicsandright.com/newsletter. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. On May